Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Argate's radio and TV simulcasts of newspaper headlines. Every Tuesday, we come here bringing you the papers and, of course, with guests who bring shades of perspectives on the issues that happen or the issues on the front page of the newspaper. And today, I welcome you to the program, and I also been joined by a seasoned journalist, TV Akase. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
And my right here, I have another public affairs analyst, Leonard Ikem. Leonard, good to see you again.
Thank you for having me once again.
Yes, so, of course, you've been reading the papers and all of that. One question somebody asked me and said the other time was, how is Nigeria?
We thank God we're moving forward.
So the question sounds very, be asking you, how is Nigeria? But anyway, we always begin our newspaper on Tuesday like this, our newspaper with Argate newspaper, which is one of the famous newspaper in Benue State and the leading newspaper in Benue State. You can't, if you want to dispute that, maybe you have to do that. But let's begin with Argate newspaper and the front page of the Argate newspaper, and the banner headline of Argate newspaper says, Benue killings, Senate orders completion of mobile barracks in Benue community. And the rider says, setting up of ranches in 774 LGAs. That is the big story you have on Argate newspaper. And just above it, you have, above the nameplate, you have Nigeria to conduct first ever digital census for PWDs. That's people living with disabilities, and that's coming from the official. Minimum wage, labor ground activities in 3 states. The issue of minimum wage is still ongoing. And just in the middle of that, the newspaper, the front page, you have Otom is the reason Kunav is governor today. Vandika PDP stakeholders say that. And Makodi residents, bottom of the paper, Makodi residents in fear as crime wave rises. So these are the stories you have on the front page of Argate newspaper. Of course, Argate newspaper is a weekly paper. This is the edition for December 4 to December 10. But the issues here, Benue killings. Senate says complete mobile barracks in Benue, and of course asking that ranches should be set in the 774 local government areas. Let me start with you, Teve Akase. What do you make of this?
Well, a number of issues there, and perhaps we should look at the banner headline, which is that the Senate has asked that the mobile barracks in Benue State should be completed. That's a good call. That's a good call. But over the years, we have had situations where the parliament will make resolutions, will make such patriotic calls. But those who are saddled with the responsibility of implementing those calls, oftentimes ignore the cause at the detriment of the populace. I just hope that this one will be complied with, because in the wisdom of the federal government, they want to establish more security points, security like barracks for more policemen and other security agents to be here in Benue State to help curb the insecurity, the pockets of infractions here and there, whether they are by armed headers or bandits and so on. And if this call is respected by those whose duty it is to implement such a good move, then it will be good. Because if you go to Sankra, for instance, I saw there's a viral video. That video began to circulate yesterday of a woman, on her farm with her children, and the cattle the herders encroached. They came right into her farm, and the animals, the cows are eating the yams, uprooting the yams, even the melon from the trees. The woman is narrating what is happening in that video. That is just one instance, and that's one that has been recorded for the people to see, working over many communities. When you want to bury your loved one, they ask you for money. You want to go to your farm, they ask you to pay them before they grant you access to their farms. So if the Nigerian Senate, in its wisdom, has asked that those who are responsible for building barracks to help more security personnel to be deployed to Benue should do that, then that should be respected. I expect that there shouldn't be any argument about this at all.
But you're talking about these barracks. Let's look at it. What of what will you ask of the state government? How much of interest should it pick into this call?
I have said many times here that security and welfare are the two things, the two items that the Nigerian Constitution has pointedly provided for. That security and welfare, the welfare of the people, these things are non-negotiable. Government must provide the people security and welfare. Welfare can be, general, it can be in any sector, but security is specific. So the state government cannot do otherwise. They have no option, because that is, when you are sworn in as the governor of a state, you take that oath to protect, to defend the constitution of the country. And the same constitution has said security is non-negotiable. So as a state governor, you must provide security for the people. So I expect the state government of Benue to key into that call and provide support for the federal government to be able to establish. The aspect I don't agree with is this ranches thing. Ranches, the state government, the Benue state government has a law. So if you want to come establish ranches, for instance, they are saying, okay, 74 local governments, that's across Nigeria. But in Benue, there is a law that specifically states, agriculture is not on the exclusive list. States and local governments have the right to legislate on agriculture, which means animal husbandry falls under agriculture. Even though we have a ministry now of livestock development, but that is still agriculture. So the federal government cannot impose its laws on states as far as agriculture is concerned, because it is not on the exclusive list of administration. So if you come to Benue, there is a law on animal husbandry that people should keep their animals in ranches. It is not the duty of the federal government to come and acquire land here and establish ranches for herders wherever they come from. No, that would be a violation of the law of Benue State.
But at least it will. Don't you think it will be a measure to some extent to bring the...
Well, that is why I said it has to conform with the provisions of the law of Benue State.
Okay.
Yes, since agriculture is not on the exclusive list, in which case, security is on the exclusive list. That is why we have one commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the police. So that one is exclusive for the federal government, okay? It is the federal government that directs security. It is the president that has the big hammer. So in terms of security, no governor can question what the federal government does until support from states and local governments.
Okay, Ikem, that's a good perspective there. Now let's get your own. Over the 1 year and couple of months into the state government administration, of course, you've heard a couple of times that relative peace has returned, or peace has returned in some places. Mobile barracks is the main issue or the solution to the problem.
Well, I think that let's first of all applaud those people for calling on the federal, being those responsible to complete those barracks. I appreciate them, but that is just a normal call they've been making over time. The major issue here is not only the completion of those barracks. What are the immediate causes? You have herders and then farmers clashing on same piece of land. The major problem here is securing the people, giving a law that is supposed to be enforced, where cattle will be separated from other farming activities.
When you say it's supposed to be enforced?
Yes, we have the ranches law here done by the previous administration, which is enforced. It has not been amended. So the call of establishing the ranches in the 774 local governments is good, but it should be, stress it should be in line with the laws of the land. Yes, agreed. If the Senate is saying they should be the 774 ranches should be established in Nigeria, first, when you come to Benue, you will look at our laws. We have a law here. We have where those areas that have been earmarked by state government for those ranches, we have the procedure that is supposed to be followed. That is where the issue of the state government comes in. That cannot be achieved in isolation of what the efforts of the state government. So completing mobile barracks is good. Yes, it will enhance more security. It will bring more security presence in the state and every other state as well. But then the issue of implementing or putting in force, making sure that the local laws separating animal farming from crop farming are put in place. Once those things are achieved, then you have relative peace. Yes, a cattle and cassava cannot live on the same piece of land.
Before we go on, the past administration made efforts where you have the livestock guards and all of that. At some point, we say relative observance of the law. What is your own take regarding the implementation of the law at this moment?
It has been politicized. I want to let you know that the major problem in Nigeria or in this part of the world is continuity of government programs. People feel that once you come and continue with the good programs of the previous administration, you are helping the previous administration and you are giving it more credit. That is where we are today. If the present government will come and continue with what the Benue State, the previous administration did in Benue, in securing the lives of people, separating animals from crop farming, this thing wouldn't have been here by now. The Benue people took a step further by trying to separate the herders, giving them a space, providing procedure for them to acquire land and rear their cattle, separate from where people do their crop farming. Now, we expected the present administration to come and also make sure that is enforced. Now, using the livestock guards for personal security, as we are seeing today, is not the intention of that law. Those people were not meant to be at the gates of government houses or political office holders. They were supposed to be somewhere making sure that the cattle head or the headers does not encroach on people's farms. So, but you see them today with their trucks parading themselves in town, guiding politicians against the backdrop of their own establishment. So what I'm saying is that the major problem is continuity. What the federal government, what the Senate said, that's right. But then in implementation, the state government needs to play a big role by making sure that their local laws are also put in force.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know whether what you said is correct, that the livestock guards have left their original objective and responsibility to guarding politicians, as you have said. But that is your own opinion. But we'll make more findings of that, and then we'll get to know. But let's look at other stories again. Just below that, still on iGate newspaper, it's Otom aids the reason Kunav aids governor today. And that is coming from Vandika PDP stakeholders. This is another statement from the stakeholder saying Otom gave the the Kunaf people the chance to become governor? Akase, it's like
I think I should even comment on that before Akase, because Akase is one of the accomplices.
Okay,
in
okay. So let me allow you to speak.
Yeah, nobody will take that away from Otom. I'm personally beefing Akase here and Otom for snatching that away from Konde, because we were in strong contest, and rightfully we knew that we thought they were supposed to support us. But we are all of us. It's a game, and Otom was the leader and still the leader of PDP in the state, and the PDP was the first party that zoned that election to Jechera and Vanica, to be precise. So the APC, which was the opposition party in the state, had no option than to follow suit. We were expecting the PDP to lead by zoning it to Ikwande, where I come from, so that will provide the needed leadership.
But they refused. Were you trying to come out for governorship?
Not exactly, but I know that it is our turn in Bilokon. But unfortunately, Akase and the leader of the party, Otom, to be precise, made sure that the seat went to Jechira and Vandika. So taking the glory away from me, yes, irrespective of the fact that his party lost, he was the leader of the party that first gave nomination to that zone.
Okay, sir. Akase, you're going to talk about this, but I also want you to highlight the importance of the statement from the Vandika stakeholders.
Yes, I was there the day His Excellency Samuel Otom was hosted by stakeholders of Vandika in that side of the local government, and most of them were there. The people who make politics in that local government thick were all seated, and they said they were going to tell him. By the way, he was in the local government to bury his former permanent secretary, Government House Administration, the late Iyangba Kapu. And on his way back, they asked him to stop over in one of the stakeholders' residences. And when he got there, he was surprised. They were all gathered. He didn't know. So they told him that they have to make this statement today for posterity, to sake of posterity, so that the younger generation will know that Kunav land, Kunav Kingdom, is the governor of the state today because of what Samuel Otom started. And IKEM has captured it very well. I was also in the race, and my local government is Konshisha. We are from the same Jechira axis. But when it came to micro-zoning, he made consultations. He's one leader who likes to consult widely. So he made consultations, and we who were aspirants from Konshisha were asked to that, yes, we have a right to contest. And our case has been very strong, that our late brother, the late Father Dasu, did not complete even 2 years. But we should remember that there is a saying in Tiv land that ya nawangba, which means chop, give your brother. So since we tested it, we should allow our brother Kunav to also have a take on it. And that's how it was a mutual understanding, and he pioneered that. And that is why after PDP, like Ikem said, after PDP, found that path, all other political parties had no option than to micro-zone the governorship ticket to Vandika. And today, by the grace of God, Vandika, my Kunav son, is the governor of the state. So Ikem got it rightly.
So the question I ask is, how significant is their statement in the politics?
Yes, that was key, because sometimes things are done, and people could easily forget the dynamics and the bold moves that some people made, the sacrifices that some people made, or one person made, to make that happen. And when the stakeholders of Vandika said that, some of us who were there too said, oh, really, it was nice to hear them say this, because His Excellency Otom couldn't have been beating his drum by himself. So it was good to see that the stakeholders of Vandika, coming from them, that meeting was not just a PDP meeting. I saw elders from Bandika land, from Kunab land, who are not even politicians. And they were seated there. And they made this statement that if today a Vandika man, a Kunab son, is the governor, you, Samuel Otom, made it possible. So it was so significant that at least for posterity's sake, this statement has been made. And if many years after now, those who will come behind will know that, yes, somebody made that bold move. And today, Vandika's the photograph of a Vandika son is in government house as a governor of the state. So it was quite significant that they said what they said.
Okay, so indeed, but let's go another story there. It says Nigeria to conduct first ever digital census for persons with disabilities. When I read this story, I was asking myself, the census all this while have been conducted, does it mean it doesn't capture persons with disability? But of course, if it doesn't, or it has not, for instance, let's look at the import of this they are going to do now. What do you think the data, how relevant do you think the data of persons with disability will be to the development and the nation building of Nigeria?
Well, that is an inclusive policy, trying to put everybody on the same deck to make policies that will benefit every Nigerian. In as much as the policy is very good, I have some reservations because I feel that if Nigeria is going to conduct or is conducting a census, it should be a general census. And then within the census, we should know that these are the people with disabilities. There should be sections that should capture a particular set of people. You know, conducting only census for disability for people with disabilities and leaving the other part. I don't know whether they want to carry the census in phases. They will start with the policy is good. Capturing those people, we enable the government to bring in some programs that will help them a lot and also help the economy, maybe reduce unemployment or create more jobs for people, disabled people. But at the same time, I think that in my own opinion, there should be a general census that should capture every body or every person before at the end, separating those with disabilities and those with abilities.
Okay, let's go forward. Our next paper to look at is Vanguard. And Vanguard carries these banner headlines: how non-appointment of ambassadors is hurting Nigeria. That's coming from Envoy. So, how non-appointment of ambassadors is hurting Nigeria. And above the nameplate, you have any threat to Nigeria's security, internal or external, will face justice. That's coming from NSA. And marketers may lift petrol from PH, Port Harcourt refinery, this week. That's Ipman making that statement. That should be some good news. Maybe the fuel price will drop, possible. Why Naira is in massive recovery race across all markets by this coming from bankers. But let's look at the bot taxes, role issues, vandalism, stifling telecom sector. But let's look at the banner story there, how non-appointment of ambassadors is hurting Nigeria. So since the beginning, the inception of this administration, ambassadors have not been appointed. Do you think, Asaka, do you think this is this call, this particular statement by envoys is the right one? Is it actually affecting the governance of Tinubu?
Well, it may not directly affect governance, but we know the role that ambassadors play wherever they are. Incidentally, Nigerian presidents since 1999 assume the role of foreign affairs ministers and ambassadors put together. They love to travel by themselves. They love to go meet. That's not a problem. But we should also emphasize the role of envoys, the role of high commissioners or ambassadors, as the case may be. You know, so we should. What does it take to appoint competent people to represent Nigeria in foreign countries? What does it take? Mr. President won election in every state of this country. He didn't win election in every state, but he got the 25%, which is the constitutional requirement, which means he has people in every state of this country. Now, if you want to get competent people, it mustn't be your party men and women. Nigerians are qualified in all spheres, but I have no idea what is preventing, what is delaying the appointment of ambassadors. This shouldn't be an issue. This should be something that can be done as quickly as possible, because Nigeria needs someone in every country that it has ties with to be relating, to be mediating between that country and Nigeria, to oil the relations of our country. And if you don't have representation, the diplomats who are there as technocrats who are in the office, in the embassies, may not have the constitutional power to broker meetings, to cause meetings, high caliber meetings between their embassy and that country where they reside. So I expect that Mr. President should hasten action on this, and not. We were almost 2 years in his presidency, and so leaving it to be this long, I don't think it is quite good.
Okay, time for break now. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we continue with more papers. Don't go away.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Televisions.
Big shout out to Agate Television, Sky's your limit.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Television, one of the best in the whole city of Makurdi. Peace.
Hello, my people. Keep watching Agate Television. Watch out for more.
Agate Television, we love you.
Special shout out to Agate Television.
Agate Television, you're the best. Shout out, peace.
Shout out to Agate Television. I love you. You're the best.
Best channel, all the fun, the live shows, the best of the best you can get.
Agate TV, one of the best rising televisions in North Central Nigeria, which everybody should actually look out for.
Committed to someone, then you don't have to be faithful to that person.
When you're talking about fidelity and trust, you could be faithful, you could be loyal, and if your partner feels or perceives you are not, does that mean you are not?
Appearance could make someone not be faithful. Sometimes you have a partner that don't really look at the needs, your needs. I'm talking about the financial aspect. Doesn't look at your needs, and then there's someone that sees
the lady in you is screaming needs. And you feel like with communication we can solve the issues of infidelity.
Yes, with communication, I know that if you are communicating, you won't see need to talk to someone, then you won't cheat on me. I want to talk to you and just you. I don't want you to talk to multiple people.
You're welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is Agate's Radio TV simulcasts of newspaper headlines. Every Tuesday, we're here to bring you what the papers are saying. Mostly the heading, what the front page, bring you the news stories on the front pages of the newspaper. And we've looked into Agate and Vanguard. Now we go straight into the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper has this bold headline. The banner headline says, "No vacancy comments." That's That's a kicker. And says ACF, Atiku orders lampoon presidency over 2027. Atiku wants presidency. Akume can't decide who will contest poll. That's coming from PDP. And above that, the nameplate of, or rather, the bottom of the nameplate, passport. And Utide, Southeast, South-South airfares jumped to 287,000 naira, over 287,000 naira. Ajayi files suit to stop Ayeditiwa as Ondo governor. And of course, beautiful picture there, you say. Sanwo-Olu opens Ifako Road Bridge. And I think let's look at the banner headline, where no vacancy comment from the presidency. The Ariwa Consultative Forum is not happy with what the presidency says. The Tinubu government will continue, or President Tinubu will continue till 2031. So Akase, you can tell us what this means to Nigerians. How?
Well, it's all politics, and politics it comes with mind games and intrigues. It is how you know, it's like football. How do you sell a dummy to the opponent when he begins to look at your body, that your body is swerving towards the right, and you move to the left. So I listened to the secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the other day on television. I think on Sunday evening on television, and he spoke like I will also speak if I am working with Mr. President, the way Senator Akume is doing. Do you want me to go to television and tell you that my boss will lose the election in 2027? No, I will not. So Senator Akume did the right thing by making an appeal. He is from the north, okay? And by virtue of whichever criterion you may use, Akume is qualified to speak the way he did. A former governor, two-time governor, three-time senator, one-time minister, and now SGF. Who else is qualified more than that? So give it to him. He's a soft-spoken person, persuasive, and he made his case for his principle that the North should wait a while. the North should understand that this now is for the South, and the South will complete its 8 years by the grace of God, and that is the position of some of us too, if you ask me, because justice has to be seen to have been done in this country. The North just finished 8 years under Buhari, and now the South has the presidency. Do you want me to support another Northerner to take over from Tinubu after 4? Even if it's not going to be Tinubu, let the presidency remain in the South for the next 4 years, making it 8. The South did justice during Obasanjo when he brought Yaradua, a Northerner, to succeed him. It was nobody's, it was by divine design. It was Yaradua's time to go, and he died. It wasn't the fault of the South that Yaradua died. And the Constitution says, if you are president and you die, or by whichever, or you resign, whichever circumstance, your vice should take over. And that's why Jonathan took over. So the argument by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar that the North has done only 11 years, so if Tinubu or whoever in the South continues after 4 years, then it would have been the North would have been cheated. I don't agree with that. Look at the time of the military. Who was in charge? For so many years, the North was in charge, but the South did not break away. So we should stop fanning the embers of discord in this country. Nigerians are not so much keen about where the person who is leading them, where he is from. Nigerians want to see better life, improved conditions of living. If you provide them with what they need, like in other countries, it doesn't matter. What Nigerians are looking for is good leadership that will put food on their table. So politicians should tone down a bit. When I listened to Atiku Abubakar, I said, if I had an opportunity to speak with the former vice president, I would have said, sir, you should be bigger than these comments that are coming from your office. You be aspiring to lead Nigeria, not as a northern president. You've been aspiring to lead Nigeria as a Nigerian president. So speak like you are representing the Yoruba person. Speak like you are representing the Igbo person. You are representing the Ijaw person. You are representing the Idoma, the chief, and whoever is in Nigeria. You are not speaking for the Fulani. You are not speaking for the Hausa. Speak like a Nigerian. This country has been so gracious to you. You were elected vice president for 8 years. Now, you should be a Nigerian. Don't be a northerner. Speak like a Nigerian. So for him to come out and criticize Senator Akume for making what is an appeal, what I saw Akume made was an appeal to the North to allow the South finish its 8 years. So I don't think the likes of Atiku should be patriots. I have a lot of respect for him because he has a lot of ideas on development. So that's my take on that.
The PDP also gave a knock on Akume's statement. But let me ask you, Ikem, Emilokon continues. Because when we had the Buhari time, we have, what was the mantra again? Before we have next level, I think change to next level. It started with change. And then the second term was next level. More or less, we can say the Tinubu's own started with renewed hope. But of course, Emilokon is in that renewed hope.
It's the grand mantra.
So are we having Emilokon continues?
Yeah, largely I'm also from the north. What the SGF said, Senator George Akume, apart from speaking for his principal, he didn't make it look like he forbade anybody from the north from contesting. But he said it is only good to allow the south continue for the remaining 4 years. And he said anybody from the north that wants to contest for presidency should eye 2031. I want to let you know that this Nigeria, like you know, belongs to all of us. The Nigeria does not belong to only the north. It also belongs to the south. Like the last speaker, Teo Akase, said, people like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who are supposed to be pillars or who are pillars of the north, should be more objective when they are speaking for the north. You are aspiring to be the president of this country, and you are quick at dividing the country by representing only the northern section of the country. Come to think of it, Buhari just finished his 8 years. Atiku was one of the reasons PDP lost the last election. The issue of Emilokun came in very, very strongly when it became only because the Peter Obi was a movement, and it wasn't all that politically for this business for some time were behind him. So another person, Peter Obi, must still come from the south. Agreed. Any other person, the minister for FCT might still decide to run. Fine. But what the SGF meant was that allow the southerners to finish their term. We are, for God's sake, we have federal character in this country. You cannot give president to the north 8 years, then give 4 years to the south and take it back to the north. We must have the spirit of sharing these offices the way we're supposed to share. Otherwise, tomorrow we are finding discord. Just like the last speaker said, Mr. Akase said. Please, the statement of the SGF, if I were in his position, I would say the same thing. Even now that I'm not in his position, I am still anywhere many Nigerian wants the South to produce the next president, even if it is not Atiku Abubakar. I mean, if not Emil Okonde, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The presidency in Nigeria is zoned, and when it is zoned, from history, we agree that once you take 4 years, you complete whatever you want to do for the country. But the North has only led in that example. In as much as Buhari didn't do well to some of us, he completed. So many people contested with him, but he won. And then the South didn't come out to say that, no, we will not allow you. It didn't heat up the politics the way the Arewa Consultative Forum, Atiku and others are saying. Yes, the PDP, you said, you mentioned of PDP also lampooned the SGF or the presidency for saying that. Yeah, I agree with them to some part. It is believed that this is a free and fair contest. Anybody might contest. It mustn't be from the North. It mustn't be from the South at any time. But with the conventions on ground, we believe that it is, even the PDP, if they want to make any headway in 2027, it is believed that their presidential candidates should come from the South to balance the equation that has been on ground all this while.
I think that if only Abdulsalami Abubakar had adopted the Abacha draft constitution of 1995, which provided copiously for zoning, rotational presidency, rotational governorship, we wouldn't be here with all these agitations about North-South dichotomy. And I think we should begin to find ways of going back there. For instance, if the Constitution provides that after the North, the thing should naturally go to the South, and it becomes a constitutional matter, then agitations will naturally go down. At the state level, the same thing.
I agree with you.
That if it moves from northeast, it goes to northwest, that is senatorial. 8 years north at the state level, northeast, northwest, 8 years. South of the state, 8 years. Whoever emerges after 4 years within that same region is no longer your problem. But it will be a constitutional issue that after 8 years in the southern part of Benue State, for instance, that's Idoma and Igede combined, then it is moving back to the northeast, which is Zone A. Then from Zone A to Zone B, from Zone B to the south again. You will see that people will stop agitating because they have to wait for their time constitutionally. That is for me. That is the way Nigeria will get it right.
Maybe there will be a micro agitation because by the time it goes to
when it goes to your region, you now decide which micro side of that place will get it. And you know that if it is in the northeast now of the state, okay, you know that second term the north part, whichever part of northeast, we decide, okay, these people have got it, this one will get it. It's as simple, but it is within them. So they know that, okay, if it comes back, this place got it. It is this time going to the other side. And that way, we will have less of these tensions that we've been having.
Yeah, I think what Akase said is very, very important. It will end this issue of being afraid of giving another qualified person something from that zone after the first 4 years. Because, another 8 years. So if those 8 years are given to that zone, yes, I think these fears will be eluded, and then everything will be okay. So I agree with him completely.
Okay, but that's fine. I also think it will work. But do you think Nigeria is ripe for that kind of?
Nigeria has been ripe for it since time immemorial.
So why?
This thing should have started in 1999, and that's why I fought President Obasanjo a little bit. But perhaps his third-term ambition made him not to see that opportunity. And if he had grabbed the opportunity that the late Sani Abacha provided, Abacha wanted to be, they said, he didn't come out to say by himself, but he started building the network to become president. Now, perhaps Abacha wanted to do that. But if maybe after he must have led for many years, he died suddenly. So Abdulsalami came in, and instead of of looking at that Abacha draft constitution. You know, it was Nigerians went to Abuja to draft that constitution in 1995. Even here we sent representatives. So it was the people's constitution. If you read the 1999 draft constitution, it was beautiful. And all these rotation of presidency, governorship, all of these things are there. But Abdul Salami was in a bit of haste to hand over 79 constitution, changed a few things there, like the date and added states, because then it was 79 had 19 states. 1999 had 36 states and Abuja. And then added the issue of derivation, 13% derivation, and passed the constitution. And it became the Nigerian constitution. If he had taken the Abacha constitution and made the time of Benue North, it is the time of Benue Northwest, it is the time of the South. No, because constitutionally it will be there. But Abdul Salami was in a bit of haste to leave power, to hand over and make a name, make history, and go. So he missed that opportunity. And Obasanjo, perhaps because of his ambition he denied it anyway. I have read his book, My Watch. And he has denied that he didn't ask anybody to drum for his third term, that we give it to him. But there were all this agitation at that time that he wanted to go for third term. If that third term thing had not come up, Obasanjo had the best opportunity to make rotational leadership in Nigeria to become law. And if he had done it, many years, many decades to come, Obasanjo's name would have been written in gold, because that is one thing that will end Nigeria's agitation. So people should stop the fear. Even if you don't get it during your lifetime, if you don't become governor, your children may become, your relations may become tomorrow.
Definitely.
So must it be you? We have to be selfless. And you know, people don't plant trees because they will say, by the time this tree becomes big and begins to produce, I will no longer be alive. What about those who planted trees before you were born? If they had the same fear, you wouldn't be sitting under a shield of a tree. So we have to stop the fear of tree planting and allow leadership rotation to happen in this country at the state and the federal level.
I understand that Nigeria is right, but who is to take that move?
That's what I'm saying. That the National Assembly should do it.
Well, of course, maybe the National Assembly now, maybe how do they go about it? Because the people who are there as well wouldn't want that kind of thing to happen, because the fear, they all have it.
That is why we are saying that we have to be selfless.
Oh, okay. We hope that goes well. But let's look at this thing, the U-tide season. The southeast and southwest airfares jumped to over 287. This is not just about airfares. I'm talking about transportation generally. When it comes to this time, what do you think? It's always from my boyhood up to this moment. It has been like this, and even these days, your fare in transport, then cash crunch.
Exit Christmas.
It is loved ones and all that. So you expect that there should be hike also, because there's a lot of competition,
panic buying,
and everything. So usually, even if there's no inflation at this time, it's scales up a little.
And now that
we have almost 32% inflation, we're hoping that by between 15th to 20th of this month, inflation should at least, like we expect everything in Nigeria, we should be around 33 to 34, 35%.
Yes.
Okay, time is not our friend any longer, and this is where we have to draw the curtains for today. But before we go, I would like to get your final thoughts, both of you, on the things we've talked about. We talked about security, talked about the administration of Tinubu, of course, talking about the non-appointment of ambassadors. Again, talk about the comment of 2027. So what do you make, your own final thoughts, Sarkasu? What do you make of it? Or do you,
well, it's to commend President Tinubu for listening to the voice of reason and not pushing the tax reform bills down the throats of Nigerians the way it was going. That move alone was going to cause his government a lot of problems, because agitations were beginning to heighten. It's about resource control. It's about resource allocation. So I am happy that Mr. President has listened and is now doing more consultations. The Senate is doing more consultations. All that we want in this country is for Nigeria to remain one and a prosperous nation. So if our leaders begin to listen to the voice of reason and not push policies at Nigerians forcefully.
What do you say?
I also urge those that are responsible for making sure that barracks in Logo local government, Benue State, is completed, and those that are also in charge of making sure we implement our local laws, the ranching establishment law, so dust it and put it in use so that farmers' herders clash will reduce in the state, and will have development, especially in the area of agriculture and the safety of the people.
Okay, thank you very much, Sataviak, as a seasoned journalist, and thank you, Leonard Ikem, a public affairs analyst. Thank you both for coming on the program today.
It's my pleasure.
My name is Benjamin Gutav. We'll do this next Tuesday. Don't continue watching iGate TV and listen to iGate Radio as well. Bye for now.